स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ददामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. By the infinite grace of Lord Krishna and Sri Ramakrishna, we are continuing to study the Bhagavadgita and the fourth chapter, almost at the end of the fourth chapter. The shloka we were discussing is Yajna Shishtamruta Bhujaha Yanti Brahma Sanatanam Nayam Lokosti Ayajnasya Kutonyaha Kurusattama. The prose order of the shloka would be like this: Yajna Shishta Amruta Bhujaha. Those who partake of the Amruta, the nectar, that is the sacred remnants of the sacrifice, Sanatanam Brahma Yanti. They attain eternal Brahma, Kurusattama. O you among the best of the Kurus, Ayajnasya Ayam Lokaha Nasti. For one who does not follow the discipline of the yajna, this loka, this world is not there. Anyaha kutaha. What to speak of the other words? This is the literal meaning of the shloka. Coming to the each praise, Yajna Shishta Amruta Bhujaha. We have already discussed in detail what is yajna, what is the significance of yajna in spiritual life. All activities has to be transformed into yajna. Yajna means the dedicated work, unselfish work is the yajna. Even the breathing is to be converted into yajna. All our spiritual practices, even eating and digesting the food, has to be contemplated as yajna. So whole being is something dedicated for the sake of others, for the sake of God. To live a life that is totally surrendered to God, to live in God and God for God, with the only aim to reach the God at the end, is what is called yajna. So yajna is the work dedicated to the God. So we are not the benefactors of the work. The others, the society, the God is the beneficiary of the work. So whatever remains after performing yajna is called yajna shishta, remnants of the yajna. Yajna shishta is called a amruta. Suppose a person spends lot of money, what he has learned, on poor, destitute and other people, serving them and whatever remains, he makes a living with that money is called the amruta. I told you difference between the Western idea and the Eastern idea. Western idea is what had lived for us, was me only, the selfish idea. I had to take the pleasures, I had to be living, I had to live in a happy life, and if anything remains, I will utilize for others. This is the Western point of view of life. But the Eastern, the Indian view of life is, according to the Gita, the ideal is one should spend on others, one's time, one's energy, one's money on others. Others means the God Himself, to see God in others, in the service of God, in the service of humanity, in the service of destitute, in the service of poor, and whatever remains, that one should utilize for one's own sake. That remnant of the sacrifice is called the Amruta. Why it is called Amruta? It is because it will lead us to immortality. The God Himself can be attained by that. That is why it is called Amruta. So this one Yajna Shishta is Amruta. So Yajna Shishta, the remnant of the sacrifice, as well as it is Amruta. This is how Shankaracharya explains. Yajna Shishta Amrutam. One who partakes that, one who enjoys that, one who eats that, he is called Yajna Shishta Amruta Bhujaha. Sa Yajna Shishta Amruta Bhujaha Yanti Brahma Sanatanam. Sanatanam Brahma Yanti. He will attain the eternal Brahman. I also explained the word Sanatana, the eternal. Everything is transient and impermanent in this world. The only principle which is eternal is God. What is eternal, what is everlasting, what is unchanging, that entity we call it as God. So God is the eternal being. That is called Brahman. The highest idea of God is Brahman. It is the principle, not a person. It is in and through everything. It is in the heart of everything. The central doctrine of Vedanta is our Atman, our soul, is nothing but that reality. In every heart there is consciousness. In every being there is pure consciousness. That pure consciousness is Atman, that itself is Brahman. This is the basic teaching of Vedanta. One who eats the Amruta, which is the remnant of the sacrifice, that means one who is engaged in service to others, one who practices Karma Yoga, will attain Sanatana Brahma, the eternal Brahma. Shankaracharya says here that person should be mumukshavaha, one who is the aspirant of the moksha. The service has to have a motive to reach God, to realize God, to free ourselves from the bondage of samsara. Otherwise the service has no value at all. Why should I serve others? Because we want to see God in all. That is the purpose. The serving of others has to have a spiritual purpose. Otherwise it cannot be called a karma yoga. According to Vedanta, this karma yoga leads to purification of the mind. That purity of the mind will make us eligible for the knowledge of God. So if we can do all karma yoga, perform karma yoga, do all our actions with disinterested spirit, then we will attain the Sanatana Brahma, the eternal Brahma, through jnana. So one should be aspirants of the mumukshavaha. Mumukshavaha means one should be aspirants of the moksha here. Kala atikramana apekshaya, he says, in due course. It takes long time for the karma yogi to attain the God, because through the karma yoga he one attains the purity of mind. The purity of mind will lead to eligibility for jnana, and through jnana one can attain the liberation. This is how one attains the God, or one attains the Brahman, or one gets the Atma Jnana, or one and the same. What will happen if I don't follow the instruction of Krishna? If I lead a selfish life, if I lead a life of pleasure and enjoyment and go after the prestige, name and fame of this world, what will happen? That kind of person is called ayajna here, one who is not performing yajna. So there are several yajnas already enumerated in the Bhagavad Gita in this beautiful chapter. If one does not perform any kind of yajna, the main yajnas we have learnt already, dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna, etc. So one should engage in any kind of yajna and try to reach God. This is the path of spirituality. If one does not do that, such person is called ayajna. What is the consequence then? Ayajnasya nayam lokaha nasti. For him, this world itself will become very miserable. One who wants to attain the world, to be successful in this world, to be happy in this world, to be most powerful, famous in this world, it will not happen. The success as the relentless search for the pleasure, relentless aspiration for the name and fame will take us nowhere but the misery. That is what Krishna is conveying here. Nayam lokaha asti, ayam lokaham in this world. So we have attained this world, we are successful in this world means we have to have the sense of fulfillment. Krishna himself says in the Gita that kruta krutyaha, that word he uses in one of the shlokas. Krutya means what has been done. What has to be done is done. That kind of sense of fulfillment is called kruta krutya. Unless one achieves that state, the life cannot be said to be succeeded in successful life. Then we have to redefine what is success in life. We are told to earn money is success, to get the status is success, and to build houses is success, to become popular among the people is success. That is not the yardstick of the success. The success lies in the fulfillment. And what gives us fulfillment? The Vedanta and the Bhagavad Gita says, only when we can realize God, God is the innermost soul, the very Atman is God, our own being is God. The same God is in the hearts of everyone. This is the realization we are aiming. If we can achieve that, that is called fulfillment. The path to that fulfillment is to serve others, to shed ego, and to live a selfless life. So one who doesn't follow it will lose this world. He will not be happy in this world. He will live a very miserable life. And Krishna says, if this low world itself is not there, he has wasted this life. Kutonya kurusattama. What about the other worlds? Definitely he will lose the other worlds also. What is the other word Krishna is speaking of? The other word is the traditional beliefs like Swarga, etc. The Swarga, one had to perform yajna or some good works to achieve that Swarga or the heavens, where the intensity of the pleasure is more, more than the ordinary life we are living on this earth. The intensity of pleasure you will get in heaven. That's why in olden days people used to aspire for the Swarga. If one cannot live a good life here, then one cannot aspire for the other world also. Suppose if we cannot live a good life, a happy life, a blissful life in our own mother country India, how we can aspire, how we can wish to live a good life in other countries like America and UK. If you go to those countries, you will find people, though they are affluent, very wealthy, and they have all the material benefits, they lead a very miserable life because they have cut off from their true roots, they have cut off from their what you call tradition, they have uprooted from their uh, values of the life. So these are the problems one has to face if we go and live in some other country. So let us not get into desire for the other worlds. Let us try to live a good life, a fulfilled life in this world itself. One can achieve that fulfillment by going through the process of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is the process of the purification of the mind, purifying our mind from the Kama, Krodha, etc. These are the two enemies Krishna has already told, Kama Yesha, Krodha Yesha, etc. So one should live extremely careful in this world. One should devote all our time, energy for the sake of others, seeing God in men, God in women. This is the message of Krishna which is conveyed through the shloka. And Krishna is concluding this section in the next shloka. Evam bahuvida yajnaha vitata brahmanaha mukhe karmajan vidhitan sarvan evam jnatva vimokshase. The literal meaning of this shloka, evam bahuvidaha. In this way, there are many kinds of yajna. Already several kinds of yajna are instructed by Krishna. Dravya yajna, tapo yajna, even the prana yajna. There are number of yajnas. We have to remember all of them. Evam bahuvidaha yajnaha brahmanaha mukhe vitataha. Here Brahman means the Vedas. So it's all coming out of the Vedas. They have all spread out from the mouth of the Vedas. Brahmanaha mukhe vitataha. So in the face of the Brahman, that is the Vedas, the prominent teaching of the Veda is not renunciation of the work. Only in the Upanishad you will find sannyasa dharma. But in other sections of the Upanishad, one is instructed to perform actions with the spirit of detachment so that one would be purified in body and mind. So Karma Yoga or the Karma is the central teaching of the Vedas according to Krishna. That is why yajnas are not my original teaching. It is not the original thought of Krishna. It is the thought Krishna has borrowed from the Vedas. In the Vedas you have 3 sections that are entirely devoted to karma. One is the Samhita sections. You will find hymns or the mantras used for the sacrifices. Next, there are detailed description of the Vedas. You will find in the Brahmana section. And lastly, the Upasana. Upasana is also an activity, but it is a mental activity, meditation. Meditation on particular deity is also a kind of activity. So activity is the teaching of the Veda according to Krishna. So he says there are many kinds of sacrifices enumerated in the Vedas. So the actual word spoken by Krishna is these are have set forth, have come out, vitataha, have spread out in the face of Brahman. Here Brahman means the Vedas. Karmajan vidhitan sarvan. They all have come out from the karmas. Actual performance is the instruction of the Veda. We will not get liberation or we will not get fulfillment just by reading the Vedas. There are descriptions of the yajnas in the Vedas, but one will not get the benefit by just reading them. One should perform the yajna. So yajna is a sacrifice, it's a practical spirituality that is instructed in Veda. So karma is of three types according to Shankaracharya: kayika, manasika and vachika. All the three actions have to be transcended or transformed into yajna. Kayika means we know what we do through our hands, through our senses, or the kayika. Actual performance, external works, externally is what is called the kayika work. This kayika is a kind of yajna. And vachika, our words, our spoken words, are the mantras we utter. So whatever we do through the speech organ, the sense of organ pertaining to the speech is also yajna. So we call it as kayika yajna. So vachika yajna. So we have two types of yajna covered. One is the kayika yajna, another is the vachika yajna. The third type is manasika yajna. The every thought, every kind of deliberation we do in our mind is also a yajna. So yajnas have come out from the actions. This is the idea. Yajna is doing the actions with detached spirit, its selfless attitude. That yajna has its origin in the ordinary actions. Ordinary type actions everybody does in this world. What are they? Kayika, vachika and manasika. The bodily actions and the speech and also the mental. Karmajan vidhi yajnan. All these yajnas enumerated as central teaching in the Vedas have come out from the karma. The mental karma, the verbal karma, as well as the ordinary external karma. Karmajan vidditan sarvan evam gnatva vimokshase. By knowing this, you will get liberated. So the total meaning would be like this. Evam, in this way, bahuvidaha, many kinds of yajnas, brahmanaha mukhe, in the face of the Brahman, in the Vedas as their prominent teaching, vitataha, have come out or expounded. Saruvantan, all of them, karmajan vidhi, know them as springing from the work. Evam gnatva, having known thus, vimokshase, you will be free. You will be free from the samsara. The recurring birth and death is what is called samsara. Sri Shankaracharya beautifully puts it in his verses. Bhajagovindam punarapi jananam and punarapi maranam. This is what samsara for us. So one will be free from the samsara. How the selfless actions or the yajnas will make us free. How knowing that yajnas have its origin in the karma makes us free. Shankaracharya elucidates this point. We should know what is karma first. Karma means the activities of the body, mind, and the senses. Whatever we do with our body, movements of the body, our grasping of the outside sound, speech, etc., through our senses, and also our thinking, deliberation, what we do through our mind, all these are actions. So, according to Vedanta, the Atman has nothing to do with that. Atman is unchanging. Atman doesn't get involved in all these things. So, na madvyaparaha ime nirvyaparoham udasinaha. Then understanding should come to us. I do not have any activity as Atman. Nirvyaparaha. I am nothing to do with these activities. Gunaha guneshu vartante iti matvana sajjate. Already we have read. So the organs or the sense organs are interacting with the objects of the senses. So the mind is interacting with the sense organs and the sense organs are interacting with the outside objects. This is what called activity means. This activity doesn't taint or it doesn't touch the Atman at all. Atman only sheds the conscious light of consciousness, that's all. A beautiful example is given. Suppose we are reading a book in the light of a lamp. The light of a lamp has nothing to do with the subject of the book. We may be reading Bhagavadgita or we may be reading some filthy book, but it doesn't affect the light at all. The function of the lamp is to shed the light, that's all. In the same way, Atman is shedding the light of consciousness on all our activities. Atman is immutable, unchanging. He doesn't get affected at all. And this is what is called jnana according to Shankaracharya. All actions, all yajnas springs from karma. Karma is the activities of the body, mind, and the senses. So Atman has nothing to do with that. Atman sheds the light of consciousness, that's all. Atman is a witness. Sakshi cheta kevalu nirgunascha. He is the witness. He is devoid of any qualities. So he is the supreme reality. This is the knowledge. So this is what is called samyak darshana according to Shankara. This is the correct knowledge. Darshana means realization or the knowledge. Samyak means correct. So all kinds of experiences, the worldly experiences, the sensual experiences are not real. The only real experience, samyak darshana, is the knowledge that I am the Atman. So through this samyak darshana only one would be able to liberate from the samsara. That's why Krishna says here, jnatva vimokshase. By knowing thus, all action, all are generated, all are origin in the actions of the body, mind, and understanding that Atman is distinct from that, one would be liberated. So this jnana, so far is enumerated or the instruction, especially from the shloka Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi, etc. It indicates what is called the Samyak Darshana. The Samyak Darshana is uh, has been given an allegory of yajna. So yajna is not different from samyak darshana. So all our activities, when they are transcended to the level of yajna, they will lead to samyak darshana or the realization of the Brahman or Atman. The realization that everything is Brahman, everything is Atman is also a kind of yajna where one would see all the paraphernalia of the yajna as Brahman itself. That is what instructed in the shloka Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi. So in order to eulogize, in order to give importance to the Brahma Yajna, all other inferior kind of yajnas are also instructed in the Bhagavad-Gita. They are not inferior, they may be called the primary steps, the steps towards the Brahma Yajna. Brahma Yajna, seeing Brahman everywhere, is the goal, and practicing every work, thinking or contemplating everything, even the digestion, even the breathing as yajna, are the steps towards that Brahma Yajna. So this is how the sadhana is instructed. Spiritual practice has to be done through karma yoga. Here the differences between karma yoga and jnana yoga disappear. Outside we do karma yoga efficiently, but inside we are fully detached. We are completely dedicated to God. We have not in pursuit of any money or the name and fame of the world. In simple words, we do not belong to the world, but we are in the world. We are in the world to realize God. This is the central message of Lord Krishna. You will find the same teaching in simple words in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna also. To live in this world, but not belong to this world. Let us not contaminate our mind with the worldliness. This is the teaching of Sri Ramakrishna. It resonates in the teachings of Krishna also in the Bhagavad Gita. So this Brahma Yajna or the supreme kind of yajna is eulogized, is prized in the succeeding shloka. Shreya Dravyamayad Yajnaha Nana Yajnaha Parantapa Sarvam Karma Akhilam Partha Jnane Parisamapyate. The literal meaning of this shloka is as follows. Shreyad Dravyamayad Yajnaha. He Parantapa. This is one of the epithet names given to Arjuna. Parantapa. Para means the enemies or the burner of the enemies. You burn the enemies with your arrows. The scorcher of the enemies. Dravyamayat yajnat jnana yajnaha shreyaha. This is how we have to read the first line. Dravyamayat yajnas, already about Dravyamaya yajna, spending the money, to give the money in charity, and also doing or performing the yajnas, physical sacrifices, and giving dhanam, charity. All these are called dravya yajna, where you will spend money, your wealth, some materials, physical materials are used in the yajna. That's why it is called the dravya yajna. It is the most primary kind of the yajna according to Krishna. Dravyamayat yajna jnana yajnaha. In between there are other yajnas are also enumerated. Dravyamayat yajna Dravya yajnaha, tapo yajnaha, yoga yajnaha, swadhyaya yajnaha, jnana yajnaha. So in shloka number 28 you will find the 5 kinds of yajna. Dravya yajna I have already spoken about. Tapo yajna, the austerity itself is yajna. Yoga yajna, performing yogic practices like dhyana, pratyahara, pranayama, etc. And swadhyaya, self-study or the japa is yajna. So it culminates, the list culminates in the jnana yajna. From dravya yajna up to jnana yajna, Krishna already described several kinds of yajna. Dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna, swadhyaya yajna and jnana yajna. According to him, in the shloka number 33, dravya mayat yajnad, compared to the dravya yajna, jnana yajnaha, jnana yajna is the better one, is the best one, shreyan is superior one. Shreyan dravyamayat yajnat jnana yajnaha parantapa. Why? Sarvam karma kilam partha. Sarvam karma, all kinds of works. All kinds of works means, once again I had to go back to what we have just studied. The external work, kayika, the verbal work, the speech as well as the mental thoughts. Kayika, manasika and vachika, all kinds of works. Sarvam karma, akhilam, jnane parisamapyate, all culminating in jnana. So we can give several examples. As all the rivers merge into the ocean, all the rivers end in ocean, so all our actions have one goal, that is jnana. If our work doesn't allow us to pursue in our spiritual path that leads to the knowledge of God, then that type of work is not advisable. It cannot be called karma yoga at all. Suppose I am engaged in crime, in corruption, in deceiving others and cheating others, it cannot be called karma yoga. Though I may be pretending to be a great bhakta or a spiritual person, in this society, if I am not leading a pure life, if I am not leading an ethical life, then that actions I do cannot be considered to be a karma yoga at all. So what Krishna says is, the goal of all actions merge into what is called jnana. Jnane parisamapyate. Now we shall take up each word for our discussion. Shreyan dravyamayad yajnat. Dravya sadhana sadhyat. According to Shankara, dravya becomes the means, the money becomes the means. So we want to achieve something, we want to do some work, we want to get something, or we want to give in charity. So dravya or the money becomes the means. So dravya sadhana sadhya is what is called the dravya yajna. Jnana yajna. So what is the difference between, fundamental difference between dravya yajna and the jnana yajna? Shankaracharya points out, dravya yajna will lead to some kind of result. Suppose I spend money and I do some work, I will get some pleasure. So karma arambhakaha, it leads to some kind of activity. But jnana is always there. Whether we attain that jnana or not, jnana is always there. The attainment of jnana is not attainment per se, it is discovery of the jnana. So we should understand the difference between attainment and the discovery. What we are discovering is our own real nature as Brahman or the Atman. We are of the nature of consciousness of God. So we are discovering our real nature. We are not attaining anything. Attainment means going from one place to another or rising from one status to another is attainment. It needs means, sadhana it means. Sadhya means what we attain, that is called sadhya. So where sadhana means and the sadhya, the goal is there, and that is called karya arambhaka, one gives results. Dravya maya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna, all have some goal. And this dravya yajna, tapo yajna, yoga yajna are all the means towards it. But the jnana yajna is not attainment. Though we say casually in many places attainment, it is not attainment. It is not getting something. It is the discovery. It is anavarana. We are discovering that we are Atman. We are discovering our nature is God. This discovery has no result at all. Jnana is always there. The Atman is always there. Therefore, Jnana Yajna is superior to Karma Yajna or any kind of Dravya Yajna according to Shankaracharya. Why it is so superior? Another description or another answer is given here. Sarvam karma, all kinds of karma. Akhilam means without exception. Without exception, that definitely excludes evil karma. All good conducts, all actions performed in a detached manner, all actions that come under the purview of karma yoga, you can say. All actions becomes the moksha sadhana. They becomes the means of the moksha. So whatever we do as service to God, service to humanity, service to the world at large, service to the society becomes the means for the liberation or the realization of God. And Shankaracharya reminds us of a beautiful example given in the second chapter, where Krishna says, Samplutodaka. Samplutodaka means the water everywhere. Suppose there is a great flood, the whole town is flooded. Then what about the tanks, the wells in the town? They are also flooded. They are also flooded, but we have the great flood that has deluded the whole town. So all our enjoyments, all our petty pleasures, all our greeds, all our desires and attainment of success in our worldly life are like the petty wells and the tanks. And Samplutodaka, the flooded water, the deluge water, which has flooded the whole city, whole town, is compared to the jnana. That means in jnana, all successes, all attainments, all goals of the karma are as if merged. So what we should attempt is, what we should aim for it is the jnana. Jnana, the success in getting jnana includes all kinds of successes. And we need not go for each kind of success, like success in getting money, success in getting fame, success in getting prestige. We should not run after them. Instead, we should go for the attainment of the jnana, which includes everything, which surpasses everything, which transcends everything, and which only gives us kruta krutyata, fulfillment in the life. This is the instruction of the Gita. So to attain jnana, to be instructed in jnana, what we should do, how we should approach the Guru, what is the best method, the traditional method of approaching one's Guru. Krishna instructs in the next sloka, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. The literal meaning is as follows: Pranipatena, with prostration. It is not ordinary prostration, falling on the ground and making a long salutation. And Shankaracharya says here, Nichaihi patanam and dirgha namaskaraha, long salutation, just like this, long salutation. And dirgha namaskaraha, falling on the ground. This is called the pranipata. Pariprashnena. Prashnena means questioning. Pariprashna means with repeated questioning. And also sevaya, with service. So there are three means through which we can win the heart of an acharya or the guru. What are they? Pranipatena, pariprashnena, and sevaya. Pranipatena with long prostration, pariprashnena with repeated questioning, and sevaya with service. So the means of getting knowledge from the gurus are three: pariprashna, pranipata, pariprashna, as well as sevaya. Through these means, tan vidhi, tat vidhi. Tat vidhi means know the knowledge, learn the knowledge. Knowledge of God, knowledge of Atman, knowledge of the self, knowledge that everything is God. Ishavatyam idam sarvam. Tattva Tattvadarshinaha jnaninaha. Jnaninaha means the knowers or the wise men in general. So many people can become jnaninaha. The academic knowledge, what is described here. The here jnana means the academic knowledge. There are hundreds and thousands of scholars of Vedanta and the Bhagavadgita are the jnaninaha, the wise men. They call themselves as gurus, professors and teachers, but they are not tattvadarshinaha. So whom should one approach is tattvadarshinaha jnaninaha. What is meant by tattvadarshin? The knowers of the truth, one who has seen the truth. Sri Ramakrishna said to Narendra that I have seen God. Darshana means seeing, realizing. In Brihadaranyaka we read Sakshat Aparokshat Brahma. It is an immediate experience without any intermediary. So every experience we have through senses, the senses become the intermediary. But in the case of Brahman, the reality, we realize that I am Brahman. What is me, it has no difference from the God. I am of the nature of God's consciousness. So it is a direct experience without any kind of intermediary. That's why it is called immediate experience, no mediation at all. And it is a direct experience. So it is just like seeing the God, experiencing the God. God is an experience. So tattva means the reality or the God. Tattva darshinaha jnaninaha. Such people alone can teach the jnana to others. This is the intended meaning of the commanding of Lord Krishna. Tattvadarshinaha Jnaninaha Jnanam. Jnanam means once again the knowledge of the reality. Upadekshanti, they will teach you. So this is how one should approach the knowers of Brahman or the reality through which one will realize God. So now we will come to more explanatory uh, discussion here. Pranipatena, as I have told you, falling, not just doing namaskara like this. It is not pranipata. Pata means falling. Nichaihi patanam, Shankaracharya says, falling on the ground and doing a long salutation, not a small salutation, long salutation. Dirgha namaskaraha. So, pariprashna, repeated question. What kind of question we should ask? We come to ashrama and talk to sadhus or the sannyasin. What we talk about? We talk about our own family problems. We talk about the news. We talk about unnecessary things, and we'll go back to the house. What we will gain from that? When we meet a holy person, we should try to speak only on God or the spiritual practice or the spiritual matters. Then only our coming to the ashrama or the mutt will become fruitful. Otherwise, all the way from home, we spend 1 hour or 2 hours in just by traveling and come here, but we waste our time here. Unless we spend the time in meditation, japa, and the bhajana, or the singing the name of the Lord. So, conversation with the sadhus and the sannyasin, we should be very careful to avoid the worldly matters. Many devotees do not follow this, and they will be deprived of the benefits of the meeting the sadhu sangha. Katam bandhaha. Shankaracharya explains us, teaches us, what should we ask the jnani? What is bandhana? What is a bondage? Katham mokshaha? What is called moksha? One should understand what is bondage in order to know what is liberation. Unless we feel ourselves in bondage, we will not have aspiration to get liberated at all. Then we should ask questions like ka vidya. Vidya or the knowledge is the means of liberation. Once we know we are in bondage, we aspire to be free from the bondage, then the necessity of knowledge comes. Ka vidya. Then what is avidya? Ka avidya. Avidya is what we have already. It is that which makes us binding to this world. That causes bondage is called avidya. That is ignorance. We are already in ignorance. We should know what is ignorance in order to appreciate what is knowledge. We should know what is bondage in order to appreciate what is liberation. So all these questions are the questions of a mumukshu. They know seekers of the knowledge. So every devotee should act and behave like a mumukshu, sevaya, and one should serve the Guru. One should do physical service of the Guru. Why one should serve the Guru? Because it purifies one's mind and body. It will make one humble, obedient, and one's mind will be purified and will be ready to receive the knowledge. The Shraddha will come. The faith in Guru's words will come if one engages in seva of the Guru. So these are the three main fundamental disciplines of Gudi Shishya or the disciple. Pranipata, Seva and the Pariprashna. So if Acharya becomes pleased with that, it is how we should win the heart, win the mind. win the trust of the Acharya or the Guru, then Acharya will upadekshanti, katayishyanti. He will preach the jnana. What kind of jnana? As I have already known, jnana that I am of the nature of spiritual entity. I am not body, I am not mind, I am not intellect. I am the Supreme Brahman, I am the Atman, spiritual consciousness. I am not different from the God's consciousness. So God resides in me. Ishvara sarva bhutani hruddeshe Arjuna tishtati. So what kind of jnanis we have to approach? Tattvadarshinaha jnaninaha. There may be hundreds of people who are academically well learned in Vedanta, Bhagavadgita, etc. But there are very few people who have actually realized God, who have got the experience of God. So one should approach such people according to Krishna. So after having that knowledge, what will be your state? What will become to you when you realize the Brahman or realize the God? Krishna continues here, Yajnatva na punarmoham evam yasyasi pandava yena bhutani asheshena drakshyasi atmani athaha mayi. So we have no time. Let us just read the literal meaning of the shloka. The explanatory discussion we will do in the next class. He Pandava, O son of the Pandu, yat jnatva, knowing which, understanding which, what will happen? Punaha evam moham na yasyati. You will not get the delusion so far you are deluded with. So we have to understand, we have to remember the origin of the Gita. The Gita is the result of Shoka and Moha of Arjuna, that we have already dwelt upon it in a very detailed manner in our introductory classes. Shoka and Moha are the causes of the Arjuna's predicament. As a result, he approaches Krishna, and Krishna teaches him the Bhagavad Gita. So you are in delusion. You will not again get the delusion if you have this knowledge instructed by the Acharya. What kind of Acharya? Tattvadarshinaha jnaninaha na yasyati. Through that, what is the result? Yena bhutani asheshena atmani drakshyasi. You will see all the beings in your own Atman. We have to remember the same kind of shloka. To see all beings in one's own self and to see oneself in all the beings. This is the culmination or the goal of every spiritual aspirant. That means to see oneself in all, to see every being in oneself. That means I see no distinction between me and other beings at all. I see only God. I see only God. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Tatra ko mohaha kashokaha ekatvam anupashyataha. Ishavasya Upanishad says. For such person, how a shoka, grief or moha, delusion can come, because he sees oneness, one entity, one spiritual consciousness everywhere. So asheshena bhutani atmani yena drakshyati. Through jnana, you will be able to see all beings in you, and also you will be able to see all beings in me. Ataha Mayi. Mayi means in me means I am the Parameshvara, I am the Supreme Lord. You will be able to see all beings in Atman, and also you will be able to see all beings in the Parameshvara or the Ishvara. That means, according to Shankaracharya, what we call Atman is not different from Ishvara. And same Ishvara dwells in every heart as one's own Atman. What we call Atman in an individual realm or in individual dimension in the bondage of the body and mind, that is the same Parameshvara who has become everything, who dwells in everything. This is the central message of Vedanta. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.